Hello, Cancer. This is Soulfire Tarot. My name is Steven, and this is for the month of February. I know we're a little bit already into it, but I'm just starting out here, and I'm so glad you're here. Now, through a practice of divination, through reading signs, through tarot cards, and these various scenarios, archetypes, and positions, let's look into this month, where you're at, where you've been coming from, and where things might be going. And then we'll look into guidance, intuition, wisdom. We'll also dive into, try to unveil and uncover what might be in the unconscious, perhaps the shadow, through the blind spot cards of Teal Swan. All right, I've pre-shuffled the cards. For the month of February, the zodiac sign of Cancer. My Cancers, Holy Guardian Angel, Most High, individual spirit guides of those who are resonant to this viewing. Might you be present in the sign to illuminate, bring light, and lend towards the goodness of all creation through these cards, guidance and illumination of the time. All right. Itchy nose. I'm a hairy dude. Capricorn here. The Pisces rising. All right. Let's see where this goes. So here you are. Cancer. Prince of Cups. Prince of Cups. Interesting. I see you in a position, or you are kind of on a journey, in kind of a dreamy time, but there's this higher vision, this hawk that is kind of pulling the way here with this man who represents, this kind of consolidated strength, of passion, of, your emotions. It seems like you're kind of in this rich position. Things are moving, there's the snake around this cup here, as he's looking off into the night, So I kind of see you in this kind of creative, emotionally intuitive kind of flow state, that you're in the synchronicity of the unfoldment of the dream of life. Magical. All right, let's square around this and see what else is going on. There we go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, two of them. Okay. Interesting. I'm going to read these kind of in composite here. I can see that there's been some challenges. It looks like something might be going on with relationships. There's a couple cups, and pentacle, and a sword here. Yeah, it might be, you might be going through like kind of a challenging time of relationship, whether that's individual partnership, where there might have been some sorrow. Or perhaps things are kind of coming to an end with regards to, some sorrows where what we've brought to life, with our feelings, just haven't been received. Or perhaps, there hasn't been enough of that kind of expression. Are you grieving, perhaps? When I see the Four of Swords here, here's a knight with his armor off, with this lovely woman, and it looks like he is kind of being the rock here, and she is taking refuge, in his strength and helping to nourish him, to as he recovers, So I'm seeing that there might have been some kind of, you might have been harmed in a certain way, or you're just feeling a little bruised and badgered here, perhaps. I get another card, the Six of Chalices here, and based on this imagery, so you see this romantic sunset, but that could signify something in the light coming to an end. It kind of has this weird, kind of like dreary look to it, despite the romantic kind of scene here, at the edge of this pool, of our feelings and things like that. So I wonder if, there's been some kind of like, a little bit of hardship in the emotional realm. And Maybe some of the work and some of the fruits of our labor, maybe some of that's gotten spoiled. Maybe it just isn't going, quite like we expected. But there is this look at positivity, that there is this higher guidance with this idea. Maybe you've been receiving new inspiration, new guidance, being in tune, with the depths of reality and your being from the inside out, and this higher guidance of the hawk, which represents higher consciousness from a higher perspective, kind of leading the way, pulling this chariot of the Prince of Cups. And we have the Prince of Swords. I see these angelic cherubim, as also like higher guidance, whatever that may be for you, And there's this inspiration, and also you see the scythe. That scythe is for reaping, for harvest. And maybe that's kind of where you're headed, even if things haven't been necessarily working out currently. That's what we're going to look into next. So where is this coming from? What might be influencing the past here? Something with our choices, something that happened. Yeah, so I see you in the past, the position of like celebration and going forward. This is the Six of Wands, so something that you were passionately involved in, in a place of perhaps celebrity or just being recognized, for your accomplishments, has partly influenced where this is coming from, and things wax and wane in life, right? Everything has a season, everything has a time, and there's ups and downs in life. Yeah. So I have the Chariot in reverse here, So maybe there was a slowdown. Maybe there was, a lack of action. Maybe something just didn't go through, something that we might have been driving for or involved in, going for a ride. You can see your sign on here, Cancer. Carefully, if you look on the shield of that chariot, of the chariot driver, you see the crab, right? So, yeah, something going on there from the past. One more, yeah, and there were some hopes involved with this. We see the Three of Wands here, gestating this dream in the night in the forest of the unknown. Going out on a limb, taking some risks, being a bit exposed. Going forward with whatever this passion might have been for you. Looking into the steamy clouds of the imagination, a combination of feeling and thought of what could have been, what could be, and that's okay if it's not exactly working. We see some going to waste on the ground, but up above in this field, we still have this tree. Things are still growing. Life continues to grow. Let's see where things might be going from this circumstance. And what's some of the guidance to kind of help see things through? So I got the Hermit in reverse first. The Hermit is a card of solitude. Very solemnly, individually. Going through the night, whatever that might be. Gaining wisdom, having a lot of time to yourself. But I think this is suggesting to me, like don't go it alone right now. Where are your people that will help kind of nourish, protect you, help get things built back up again, be in a better position here going forward. Ooh, yeah, breaking through with the Seven of Wands. We have an image here of this burly looking semi-dwarvish red-haired guy, breaking through these ties, with strength, with passion towards what is sacred. We see that shield with the seven, the three crossing and the one middle. So the seven is breaking through structure from the six, what has been established and crystallized, going forward with that passion and really having that inner strength to overcome what kind of obstacles, what kind of bondage there might be, and together with other people. You don't have to go this alone, So, interesting. Yeah, we have the Knight of Chalices in reversed. Yeah, the Knight of Challenges is, somebody who's kind of like dreamy about their dreams, and have been led there. But it's in reverse, Interesting. What is that about? I don't quite understand that here. I'm still learning the tarot. Ace of Wands. Yeah. A powerful fire of creation, wielding that creative power, raised by the sun, sparked by that sun, that inner spark, that pure potential here for that dream, So I think this is kind of telling me in full context of what we've been going through. You don't have to give up yet. You might have lost a battle. Things might not have played out quite as you were hoping, but maybe you just got to kind of stoke that fire to get this dream pony back on the road, whatever that might be for you. Fascinating. Lovely. I really like this energy coming through Cancer. It's really special and a privilege to be able to kind of divine and read in for those of you who are attracted and resonant here. It's a real honor. So let's see. Now I'm going to do like a general overlay to kind of like put another layer on top of all this. Got 2 in 1 here. Yeah, Cancer. So this is supporting what we just came from here, this comes before that. 2 of Cups, combining these feelings, what we can create in our bonds and connections towards this harvest, and whatever the space is that we're cultivating. We see the wheat here, in the field, and pouring these cups together into something new. This lotus that is beautifully blossoming these flowers. It takes sunlight, heat, warmth, some kind of transformation to get there. And we also have the 9 of Pentacles, card of completion, the 9, the vibration of the 9, these 9 beautiful roses and this luxurious, fecund-looking woman, in her luxury, of what she has cultivated. And she has plenty to give, but she's got to tend to herself. She has to cultivate this, take care of it, and really nourish, her riches, her wealth, whatever it is she has to give, whatever she's, given to herself, you have to give to yourself, to be able to have something to give worthwhile, and again, don't have to go it alone. And you can find allies and support to help break through. They might share in your passion. They can help you out here. So that whatever this is that you're dreaming of coming into this month before, you can keep on riding the dream pony with that hawk. You're tuned in. Cancer, so keep the hope. Let's see here. We're going to do a blind spot card now. This blind spot card by Teal Swan is a deck that was created to help illuminate things that are not as easy to see, things that we might be blind to. I can see myself in this camera, but ordinarily I can't see as people see me. So let's help look into that. Let's see what might be on the other side influencing this reading in this time for you. Yeah. It's a soft one. We have the 53. Interesting. There's some multi-dimensional stuff going on here. This might be a life-changing one for you, I feel. We have the 53. So here, you see how the general trend of this is down, but we have this Merkaba, right? These 3D pyramids, and the sun symbol with that circle, the little eye. But then convergence down, maybe to Earth, from above. This kind of cosmic integration here. So let's see what the 53 is about. I'll just do a reading from this book here, written by Teal Swan. Highly recommend her. I love Teal's insights. She's a highly sensitive, intuitive, multisensory being. 53. What is 53? Turning the page here. Come on. There you are. Identification. Interesting. It says if we have drawn this sigil, You are currently so identified with something that you cannot separate yourself from that thing enough to be objective or conscious about it. Interesting. So maybe in the context of this reading, this might be speaking towards something there. Identity is the condition of being oneself, one separate self. Another word for this is ego. Whenever we associate something with ourselves, we identify with it. It becomes a part of us, the same as us. Identity is powerful. Can you identify somebody with creative power and potential? I think so. Another word for this is ego. It becomes a part of us. This is what attachment really is identification. ID, you got your ID? Is this ID valid here? Is it not valid there? Where does that ID get you? There's some passes, some destinations this ID gets you, but it doesn't work over there. Maybe you need to get a new ID. Maybe you need to see what IDs you have and see which ones are expired, and which ones you need to renew, or which new ones you got to get. So, if this thing we identify with is threatened, we experience it as a threat to our own survival, a personal attack, for example. One could argue that identification is a good thing when we identify with things that make us feel good. But the minute we identify with something that causes us to feel good, it contains with it, in a yin-yang kind of way, the seeds of its own opposite. Duality, right? Worthiness carries the seeds of unworthiness. Excitement carries the seeds of disappointment. Far more troubling, however, is that we often identify with things that cause us to feel bad, and then we have to keep those things alive in order to keep our own sense of self alive. Yeah, it kind of works like that sometimes, right? When it comes to identification, it is not only things external to us that cause us suffering, it is also identification with things we perceive to be internal. We are the most identified with the three primary aspects of ourselves: our body, our mind, and our emotions. Each of these aspects is inherently a different expression of source consciousness. We mistake these expressions for the totality of who we are. It's a bit like a painter who has become so identified with his painting that he's forgotten that who he ultimately is more than his painting, right? The painter. Creativity. Where are we there? We think we are our emotions. We are our body. We are our thoughts. But these are ego identity attachments. It's not the real reality. We are that I am, that consciousness that can hold, that can attach, detach, right? We're just this efflorescent flux of all possibility, collapsing realities into experience from a infinite potential of possibilities, creation at its source. So, yeah, and we all got a spark of that, each and every one of us. And it's kind of like, what feeds the fire, I certainly feel like when I'm with my partner in love, I feel so nourished. My inner child feels comfortable, secure. And the growth has been amazing. I love it. So let's see, where did I leave off? In truth, you could disidentify with just about anything. And to disidentify with something, you must first identify it as different from yourself, as other than you. For example, if you would like to disidentify from your own pain, all you must do is conceptualize your pain as a separate entity. And when you experience that pain, observe the pain as if you were watching this separate entity reacting. Interesting. There's some meditations on that. Buddhist. In this way, you do not take the pain personally. It's merely something happening, right? It's kind of a dissociation or disidentification. The sigil will remind you never to do this separating from process with an attitude of resistance. Instead, allow the aspects of you that you want to disidentify from by exposing them to our conscious awareness to fall away like rose petals exposed to the sun. Interesting. Remember this? It's kind of a fall vibe, but an opening up of the beautiful rose petals here. Yeah, what is nourishing? So, instead, allow the aspects of you that want to disidentify from by exposing them to our own conscious awareness. Yes, this is the key. To try to push away the things you are identified with only causes you to become more identified. What a paradox. It only causes you to feel rejected by yourself. You will essentially cause an intense survival reaction in response to your own self-rejection. You cannot try to take something away from yourself without hurting yourself. As it applies to the body, thoughts, and emotions, you cannot try hard to disconnect from those aspects of yourself without those things being perceived internally by you as self-abandonment. The way to allow these aspects to fall away is to first recognize them. Relative to the situation, you could take out a sheet of paper and jot down all the things you suspect might be identified with. You can be sure that there are many more than those that you write down. But this is a consciousness exercise. A good way to find things you're identified with is to look at everything you call mine. Mine. That's mine. For example, the minute you say my friends, you're identified and thus attached to them. Also, everything you would put after I am, insert here. For example, the minute I say I am sexy, you are identified with being sexy. Try to identify thoughts and beliefs you are identified with. For example, money doesn't grow on trees might be a thought that you are identified with. Try to recognize emotions you are identified with. The ones you are most identified with will be the ones that are chronic or come up most often. For example, disappointment might be one. You can also try to recognize the aspects of your body that you are identified with. For example, if you see yourself as being a little fat, you are physically identified with being fat. Anything you identify will cause a strong reaction in you. The ego has owned it as part of its composite self. When those things are threatened, the ego will go into a state of reactivity and defiance. The ego has motive to maintain these aspects of our life. Even if they cause us pain, it sees the loss of these things as annihilation. If you have drawn the sigil in this situation, you are not seeing the identification clearly. A little disidentification, kind of like the passport metaphor, might do some good. I think that could do everybody some good sometime or another. Yeah, you got a new metaphorical toy to play with, so have fun. All right, blessings, Cancer. Thank you once again. Soulfire Tarot. Like and subscribe. I'm planning to do this every month, and then I want to get to bi-weeklies. So